In this video, we're going to make the cow catcher. So the first thing we need to do is start a new part file. You're going to pick standard part file. And we're going to create a sketch on the XZ plane. And I'm also going to rotate our plane so in the top corner, top lines up so you can read it easily. First thing we're going to do is create this bottom edge, the outside edge. So I'm going to add in a line, add it above the origin because we're going to need to attach the center of this line to our origin. So you're going to use the coincident constraint. You're going to click on this green dot in the middle because that's the middle of your line. Then click on the origin and that's going to line up your line. The dimension for this line is going to be 1.8 inches. Now we're going to have line going down, make sure going straight down. And it's going off to the side, and that one needs to go straight up. Okay. So here's what our shape looks like right now. So this edge is 0.25, and the other edge is going to be the same. And this point needs to be right in the center. Okay, that's right in the center. And it's 1 inch away from right here. Okay. Alright, so this is our first sketch. So what's different from this is we're not going to use the extrude tool right away. We're going to have to use the fillet tool, but before, or not the fillet, the loft tool, which is underneath sweep. You're first going to have to make another sketch. So you're going to have to click on plane. You're going to have to go to the origin. So we did the XZ before. So we're going to do that again and we're going to move this up. And the height we need to move it to, because we want to move it to the same height as our cow catcher, is 0.75. So we can type that in right here. And now we have our plane at the correct height. So we're going to click on Start 2D Sketch, and remember you got to click the edge to select our plane. If you click on the plane itself, it kind of clicks through it. So now I'm just going to move that again. So we're going to do the same thing before, but this time we're drawing a smaller version of what's already on your screen on your first sketch. The reason for this is you want everything to line up properly, because this cutout right here, if you don't line up everything properly, it won't actually let you create a sketch on that surface. So our first line is going to be 1.2 inches, and our edge right here is going to be 1/4 inch. We're drawing the same shape from before. Alright, and again we want this right in the center. And from here to here, our dimension is 0.75. Okay, so now we can finish our sketch. And this work plane 1, we can make it invisible because we don't need it anymore. So you can uncheck visibility. If you delete it, it will delete your second sketch. So you still need it in there, but you don't need it visible. So now we can click on our loft tool. We can click on our first sketch and we'll highlight the area that we want it to extrude. And we're going to click on Add Sketch. And now we select a sketch, so we can click on our second sketch. Make sure that your output shows a solid shape because we want it to be a solid object. Then you click OK. So now we have the start of our cow catcher. The next thing we're going to do is shell the inside of our object. So that tool is right here. So click on shell. And then right now it hollowed out the inside of the object, but we also want one of the surfaces to be open. And that is our very bottom. And then we want to make sure that our thickness for this is 0.1. Okay. So to open up the bottom, you just click on it. And then the default thickness is actually the one that we want. So just click OK. The next thing we're going to do is cut out those two kind of window shape pieces on this edge. And we can do that by starting a new sketch. And remember, if you can't select a sketch on here, you got to go back to your loft that you did originally and check your dimensions because something's off. Now that we have that highlighted, we can click on Project Geometry. And we want that to highlight this outside edge because now we can use this tool that's called Offset. And with that tool, we can click on our Project Geometry line, which is that yellow line, and place it inside of our object, and now dimension 2.1. Now we can finish our sketch, and we're going to extrude, and we're going to make sure this is cut, and our dimension for that. So we want the thickness that's left to be 0.05. So our original thickness is 0.1, so the cutout that's going in will be 0.05. Alright. So now we're going to do the exact same thing on the other side. So Project Geometry, Offset, we're going to add in our dimension to 0.1, Finish Sketch, Extrude, make sure it's cut, and our dimension is correct. Okay, so now we have the front part of this all set. So now we got to move to the back side, where we're going to start a sketch. And for this, we're adding on these 3 pegs. These pegs will connect it to the train body. So these, and remember this note off to the side over here, where this dimension right here is the spacing between these 2 center points, not from the bottom edge. Just on this view, it happens to line up where it looks like it's on the bottom edge. So I'm going to add in 3 circles, roughly placed where I want them to be, and also make sure you don't get any of these lines or else it'll get locked in place. This one's alright that I got in there just because it's going to be in the center anyways. Alright, so our diameter for these is going to be 0.125. That's going to be the same for all of them. And our distance between the lower 2 and the upper one is going to be 1/2 inch. So that's from center point to center point. And the dimension from the lower 2 to the very bottom is 0.125. Alright, so this one's already set up right in the middle, so that one's all set. If not, then you're going to have to make sure that it's in the middle, or you can have it spaced away from this one right here, this bottom one, to be 0.625, but I already have mine locked into the middle, so I'm not going to add that dimension in. And I want these, oh, actually I still got to add that dimension in, because that's how far this one moves away from that one. Okay, so I'm going to add that in real quick. And then the bottom two, they're going to be spaced 1.25 inches apart. So 1 1/4 inches. Alright, so now all of them turn blue, so we know all of them are locked in place. Okay, and if you happen to not get this one in the center, remember this dimension from the edge right here, and that dimension would be 0.6 in case you need to put that in. Alright, so now we can finish our sketch, and we can extrude. Remember, click on all 3 of the circles before you click over here, or else you can't click on anything else. And then you have to exit out of the tool and go back. So the distance for all 3 of these is going to be 0.125. Alright, and now our last thing that we need to do is add in a chamfer on all of these. So you go to chamfer. And our chamfer for all of these is going to be 45 degrees. And our chamfer is going to be 0.01. So we need to change this to the distance and angle one. So it's already 45 degrees. And now we just got to change our distance. So what we need to do is click on the face and click on the edge. And then we can click the plus on here so we can add in another one. And we can click plus, and then we can add in our final one, and then we can click the check mark. Or you can click OK over on the pop-up. Either one's fine. Right, and now we have our cow catcher. So it's all set and ready to be attached to the train.